Hey there, gang. How you guys doing today? We're getting ready for our lesson on Sunday on Genesis chapter 25, which is really talking about Abraham's last days. This will give us a chance as a group to be able to kind of just review through all of the faithfulness that God has shown in their life of Abraham and the way that he has continued to fulfill his promises to Abraham and to his descendants. We'll talk about just kind of the inheritance of Abraham and the way that it says that at the end of his life that he had another wife and through her had children, and as a result of that there were other people to give inheritance to, but then he chose to give inheritance to his son Isaac, who he gave the double portion to, which is traditionally given to the eldest son. As we know, Ishmael would have been born before Isaac, but Isaac was the son of promise and the one that should have been the eldest son, and so he was given that inheritance. And then it goes on to describe his death at 175 years old. It's really kind of a simple passage just telling us that he took his last breath. He died at a ripe old age, which is the completion of one of the promises given in the covenant in Genesis chapter 15, that he would die in his old age and be buried peacefully. And it talks about that he lived old and contented, and he was gathered with his people. One of the things that I think is a great testimony to the character of Abraham in the midst of this is that it says that both Ishmael and Isaac came back to see to the burial of their father. I think that points towards Abraham's love for Ishmael and his care for him. And so that's just some of the incredible things we see. And then it says in verse 11 that after Abraham's death, God blessed Isaac. And that then is our transition point to now we'll be talking about Isaac for the next several weeks in our study of the patriarchs. And so there's just a few application points that we can take home from this. First of all, I think it'll be good for us as our small groups to go through and just highlight. We'll start by looking at the covenant that was originally given to Abraham and then highlighting all the ways that we saw those things come true. And I think as we do that, it will be a good reminder for us of God's promises and his seeing the promises through to the end. I think that we will review, I would like us to review even in our small groups, some of the promises and the ways we see God continuing to follow through in our lives. It's good to review those kinds of things. I was just recently challenged with Joshua's story, and every time he was getting ready to lead the people to do some thing where their faith was going to be tested, they went through a review of all of the ways that God had been faithful to them. And so I think that's an important thing to do. And then lastly, just we're going to spend some time talking with our small groups about the ways that Isaac is viewing all of this. Just think about from his perspective of watching his dad, of watching the whole process of his dad proving his faith to God being greater than his love for his son in the walk up for the sacrifice, and then the way that God blessed that. And so we're just going to talk about Isaac's view as he comes in and is looking at the legacy that has been left before him, and as he gets ready to decide to follow God and to listen to his promises. So I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. High school leaders at 9:30, be prepared to be changed to different small groups than what you're used to, as we'll start to make the transition into having small groups that are dedicated to grade as opposed to what we've drafted for that hour. So I look forward to seeing you all on Sunday. I hope that you have a great weekend.